introduction to somebody that you will appreciate has a very deep background in branding and advertising for communities and businesses. And I had the privilege of meeting Robin last week. She has been doing the advertising and branding for Sparling's Propane for the past little while. And Sparling's were gracious enough to host and sponsor Robin to come up and take a look at what some of the things that we've been doing and give us a perspective of what we can do into the future for establishing the Blyth brand throughout southwestern Ontario and bring some of the ideals that we've over the last 100 and some odd years. So Robin Honey is the owner and founder of Honey Design in London, and I'm not going to go on into the things that the accolades that are due her, but she can certainly give you a little bit of background of her business. So Robin, I'll ask you to.
Yep. Thank you very much, Rick. Actually, my accolades. So as Rick mentioned, I'm the owner of Honey Design. We've been in business in London for 23 years. I started out as an ad agency, but about a dozen years into that, I decided that the way that my clients were most successful was when we undertook to understand their business or their organization from the very ground roots all the way through. And it was when we had that kind of collaboration with the client and an understanding of what they were really trying to achieve that we were more successful. And that's when we sort of made the switch into branding. Over the years, there's probably not too many businesses that I haven't worked with. 24 years in May will be the start of the business of Honey Design. And certainly business improvement areas. I've brought a few samples just to show you some of the work that we've done in the past, but really the focus of tonight is to talk about what we see as the potential for the Blyth Business Improvement, or really Blyth, the historic village, and how you can promote yourself. So I'm going to have to call on Doug to hit the control bar every once in a while. And again, sponsored by Sparling's. So branding has almost become an overused word, unfortunately, but it really has never mattered more because, as we all know, social media and online has changed the way that people interact with companies and organizations. And the experiences that we all have encountered of having bad customer service or great customer service or having a product fall apart or having a great product, they all impact, and word of mouth, of course, is still an old-fashioned value, but something that's really important, but has transcended. It's sort of gone online, and as we all know, if you do the wrong thing, it can go badly quickly. So branding, again, there's 4,000 books on Amazon. I actually wrote a small book myself on branding, but it's focused on small and medium-sized businesses because there's all kinds of information out there on how to do it, like Nike, but there's not too much information about how to do it if you don't have those huge budgets. So I decided with my 20 plus years of experience of helping people who don't have Nike budgets, because I'm in London, Ontario, not Toronto, that I would try and communicate what I know. So the next slide is, this is my favorite explanation of what a brand is from Jeff Bezos of Amazon, so he knows what he's talking about. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. So what do people say about Blyth when you're not in the room? Or what is the conversation around Blyth? And that really is the formation of a brand. That's how it all starts. You have to understand what those benefits are. Thanks. So here's some of the logos, and I'll talk a little bit about why a brand is not a logo, but I, again, wanted to indicate that over the years we have done some work for cities like Woodstock. So this was the economic development logo. Donnelly Museum, of course, speaks for itself. Stratford, Ontario, Canada, needed to differentiate themselves from the festival, and this was a logo that they're currently continuing to use on all of their municipal vehicles and buildings and signage, etc. And Middlesex County is another current one that's still in use. So the bottom row is some of the national brands that we've worked on and a couple of the small to medium food products that we've worked on. The challenge with doing municipal or city work is that it's difficult to find a theme that makes sense, and if you think about all the different municipal and logos you've seen, they often sort of go back to something that is organic, where there's a flower, or there's a bird, or there's land, some kind of landscape, because really what else can you say about a place, unless of course you're Stratford and you've got the festival. You have a similar situation, but I think as witnessed by Stratford, you don't want to say that's all you do, and that was their point, is that if we're just the festival, then what do we do with all these businesses that are trying to be promoted as well? Okay, thanks. So those are logos, but the difference between a logo and a brand, as I mentioned, with it's what people say about you in the room. You have to understand what the essence of it, people call it the DNA. So why do you exist? So what is it about Blyth that is unique, that people would, when they go away, say, wow, that was really fantastic. We had a great meal. We went to the Potter's studio. We bought something. We went to Maple Moose. I just bought a vintage apron, which was really cool. So what are those experiences? And it has to be very experiential for a place. It has to be about something that happens to me that's different, that I can go away and tell my friends, this is why I really liked it there. And personality. So I think for Blyth, like many small towns, your personality, it has to be unique. It has to be personal, maybe a little quirky, certainly not Toronto, right? Because that, you're just in a different space than a large city. And positioning is really where do you want to be? So what I'm going to talk about tonight with the work that I'm going to show you is where we think Blyth could be, not where you are today, but how you could grow towards something that could encompass a stronger brand position. So a promise sometimes is a tagline. Sometimes it can be distilled into saying, Nike, just do it. One of my favorite positioning statements is for the Canadian Blood Services. It's in you to give. I mean, what a fantastic, it's very emotional, but it also sort of makes a statement as to why they exist. And then brand name, of course, Blyth, you can't really change that, but we do have clients that want to change their brand name because it doesn't work. And then the brand identity is the logo, but it's also everything that goes on the logo. So Mike will attest to that. It's all the promotional items, but it's also the experience, again, of if you were answering a phone, how would you answer the phone? So it's all of those things that are encompassed into what we call brand identity. So again, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, okay, if I get a new logo, I'm good. That's all I have to do. I'm just going to put it on everything, and people understand what it is that I do. We're trying to instill a little bit more meaning into what we think you can communicate. So, go ahead. Thanks, Doug. This is, I'm not sure why they use the campground. I just noticed this on the way up. But anyway, this is the existing logo that has been used, I think, for a couple of years. A little bit less, a couple of years. So we looked at this, and we also looked at the banner design. That's really where it started, because I think there was a thought that if you're going to put something up on the street, let's make sure that it lasts for a couple of years, or it actually is going to elevate you, raise you to the next level. And there was things about this that we really liked. The idea we liked. We liked the idea of the British flag because, in fact, that's where your roots come from. And there's a lot of things that are very popular right at the moment that you, in furnishings and fashion that incorporate the Union Jack. The problems with it are it's very hard to read. The script font is very difficult to read. So we tried a whole bunch of different things. So the next slide that I'm going to show you is our version of how we've taken that idea but gone to sort of the next level. So go ahead, Doug.
Sorry.
Sorry. next one after this, you all know what your website looks like. So what we've done here is taken the idea of the British flag, but made it your own, so that it's not just a flag that looks like maybe it's sort of dragging behind the type, but it's actually elevated, it's on top of the word, so that it indicates that there's something interesting, royal. It also sort of looks like a ribbon, so you've been awarded something. It has that idea that there is some excitement to it. And it's not just the flag. So the word Blyth, we chose a font, typography, that again is very, very legible, but it has a little bit of a script feel to it. It's got a little bit of the curve, and a little bit of a quirky nature within the ascender and descender, but not so much that it would go out of style. We chose the red because red is the most attractive color to the human eye. It's one that we all notice first. And the blue, we've not used the navy blue, which is actually in the Union Jack, but used a warmer blue to make sure that those colors are equal. And we don't want people to look at it and say that's the Union Jack, but rather, oh, that's interesting. That's what are they trying to communicate? So the next just shows how you could, again, I don't know that business improvement area, I don't think tourists understand or care about that terminology, but they certainly would be interested in historic village if they were to see a website and think, oh, that's something that I should go and have a look at. And certainly when you were established, it supports that, so that's why that relationship was chosen. But we realize there's certain times that you have to take things apart and you don't have room for a visual. So you can see that the designers have shown a variety of different options. And that's just a horizontal view. Again, the idea being that Ontario, Canada might be used for your external audience or, again, that national audience. I mean, the idea that people could come from anywhere to visit, and you know, business improvement area doesn't mean the same thing as historic village. So the web presence we updated as well, just to show you how we could continue to use your burgundy color, but the red, and it's a bit dark on the screen, but the red can still pop out. And we believe that there's some fun things that you can do locally to make that theme kind of run through. As I mentioned, there's all kinds of, chairs I don't believe that you can buy for the theater, but there's certainly seating for home furnishing that's in that theme. Upcountry has a sofa, a really cool sofa. It's got Union Jack on it. And I think, I'm not sure, you probably can't read this. I'll read this copy because the thing with the brand is, I guess I said, it's not just about the logo, it's how does everything fit together. So we're looking at a way to make that British reference make sense. And so what we've said is a post office, a Presbyterian church, a tavern, and a general store comprised a bustling hotspot called Drummond, until Henry Blyth bought the town and 200 lots surrounding, sight unseen in 1877. I think the date's wrong. Oh no, 1866, because then you were founded. A wealthy, eccentric Englishman from Berkshire, England, Henry never did visit his namesake. His Blyth purchase provided us with our name and our British flair for the dramatic. We invite you to visit for shopping, dining, and of course, great Canadian theatre. Because I think the other thing is that the theatre obviously is a huge draw, so it should be on your homepage and a link to that, to it right on the homepage. Oops.
That was great.
There we go. So banners by their nature are meant to attract the eye, and they're made out of fabric because they move, and that has come to mean that there's something going on, there's excitement, I should look at it. It designates an area usually, and so in this case we're showing that you could alternate the blue and the red, and would have a lot of impact. Now the one thing to consider is that the blue against a blue sky might not show up as well, but we thought we would try both options. And then we applied it to some promotional items, just to show, again, you can see that it's been taken apart, and Mike will understand why we've done this, because sometimes things have to be altered to make collateral material attractive. And t-shirt, mugs, and then we thought we would show you, if it was reduced really small, it could even be a pin. And I think that's the last slide. So again, the idea was to take what you have as the idea, but see if we could raise you up a level to have something that, as your businesses continue to evolve, that there's a reason for people to come and understand what it is that your offering is. We didn't go to a tagline because I think that's something that needs a little bit more discussion and maybe more time than a week, which is what we had to do this in. But some of the things that we talked about was like using the word brilliant, which of course is British for awesome, or smashing, or Rory's word, and some of the others. Bold. So some of those ideas, he said, So does anybody have any questions?
Oh, I think there's...
I'll throw one up.
Sure.
I'm on the pottery store down
Yeah.
there. And when we had the British flag up, I've had a lot of people come in and question why we show a British flag when we live in Canada. And the consensus and the feeling is that we'd be a lot further off to show a Canadian flag. And we've actually had some people that are offended.
Yeah, there's some imperials that don't like it, yeah. But I think that would be the minority.
I would disagree. I've had more comments negative about it than I've had positive.
Yeah, and I would counter that by saying that it's because you're just using a flag. It's not anything else, whereas we've evolved it into something that is an icon that's got, yes, some elements of it, but it's more than that. But I understand where you're coming from.
I really like the banners. I think the banners, most people with banners, they have too much on it.
Yeah.
And I really like the font for the slide. And then the banners, I thought were excellent.
I think they're really bold. One of the things I looked at when we were going through C4, they have beautiful banners, but you have to get almost right up in front of them to see what they say.
Because they're different.
Yeah, because it's all streetscape on each one of them. Whereas this taking this approach is
Got
bolder,
consistency.
and you can see it further. One of the things that Robin also had mentioned, because there seems to be a disconnect between the reasons for the heritage or the historic feel of the Union Jack, and whether it's retailers or whether it's community people, there's a disconnect as to what that was actually meaning. And partially we have to tell our story, and the only story we have is ours. We can't tell Brussels, we can't tell Clinton's. We all are part of the British history, but because of our Canadian theater that we have here and the roots that come from our very unique story that is blended in Britain, it makes a good talk when people are asking a question. If they don't know the answer, we should be able to give them the answer. And I was really liking to see the harmonization with the website and the theater, with the three chairs, the Union Jack on the one in the one seat. But then I also really pulled my eye to the soccer ball. There's youth, there's theater, there's a living community there that actually sees all the things that are going on in it. The, well, actually right at the top of the website too, which when you look at our website right now, there's the Union Jack and the stylized B, but there's still nothing to pull that into words. So we tell a little story on that on the webpage. The method of pulling that through, I also like the royalty of the way that sits up, and it actually looks a bit like a Canadian flag.
That's what I thought.
Kind of flipped, it's kind of flopped into a Canadian flag and a Union Jack, which I saw that when you sent that through to me the other day. I thought, wow, it just wraps the two communities or the two countries right together. I still come back to that soccer ball. I think that's really unique.
I think that design, the new design is very attractive. I think it's eye-catching, and I think it promotes new and fresh. So you'd be at the start, but at the same time, you can be fresh, you can be new. I think that really made a difference.
And I think you have a lot of personality here. You have some really unique stores. You have some very, some innovative retailers, and certainly the theater is unique, and that goes without saying. So that should be your position. That you're not going to have a Walmart. That's not what you're about, and that's not why people would come here. They would come here to experience something new and different that they couldn't find elsewhere. And I think that again, that's what we're trying to convey, is that this has a point of view that does reference the British, but it's more than that. And that's where we came from when we looked at the original logo, that's all it was. It was just the British flag. So we tried to take it up, as I said at the beginning, up a level, and the references of having the points of the Canadian flag or the ribbon or the crown. That's what a great logo is, that people can see different things in it. Not everybody agrees, but there should be more than one thing that is visible. So yeah, I think that, and I go and Google Union Jack in home fashion, because it's, I think, probably a trend that started about 6 months ago, but it'll be here for a good 2-3 years, and there's all kinds of people. You saw a chair in the States that had the Union Jack on it. There's bins, and from a standpoint of embracing this and trying to make it your own, it would be great for every retailer, every place of business to have something quirky that has that British Union Jack on it in some way, just because I think that entertains somebody that's come to town, is to say, oh, you've got the chair, or you've got, the socks, or whatever it is. And I think you could have a contest. This could be extended into social media where tourists really well. So you could have a contest to say, find the 5 Union Jacks in Blyth, and you could win a trip to Britain, or something smaller, right?
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of
Trip to Belgrade.
a cup of tea.
The tea would be all right.
Yeah.
We know an excellent one.
And that's what is a brand. That's when you start to live and breathe it, you start to embrace it and find ways to make it interesting. And again, having done work for a place like Ontario Highland Tourism Organization, where they really don't have anything. Like it's between Algonquin Park and Muskoka. That's what it is. They have good fishing, and they have great snowmobiling. Try and market that, right? And they have been able to do is use social marketing with contests to enter your favorite photo of the area, or win a stay. I mean, that's something you can do on the website. You can do packages, right? Come and stay. Go to dinner for 2 plus the theater ticket plus something else at 4 price, because tourists are really looking for that, trying to make it easy for them. There's all kinds of places you can go with this, and I feel really confident that it's a really strong brand position that will last for some time.
Just a thought on the banners. So I see the two colors. It's
Yeah.
the same banner.
Yeah.
And I heard you mention that sometimes the banners may have too much information on them.
Yes.
when I've gone to places and they have one or two new banners, but they quite often use banners to introduce something special that's happening in town in a certain period of time. So I just wondered what the thoughts are, that there are things that we do here that are special events, or we did have some branding ideas for banners within our BBIA. And what does it look like as you use more than one? What is your experience that is found? Because I've noticed that it's in towns where there's maybe 3 or 4 that are all similar, but they promoting something.
It's certainly possible. I think you have to look at real estate, like how many posts do you have, and why are they there? And I think, again, having just driven through Exeter, I think, has stuff. So it's so that you don't drive through and miss it, right? And I think the same thing, you're indicating people, okay, you're here. So depending on how many you have, if you have room to alternate and have something that says, I don't know, spring fling sale or whatever it is, that's okay. It's just that you're going to have to take them up and down. And the way we were looking at it is that you are on number 4, and people are obviously hopefully coming to you, but maybe they're going by and you want them to stop and go, oh, there's something going on. So it's not wayfinding, it's just a way to indicate that you are in a place. And certainly museums put them up and down for different shows if that's the sort of thing you're talking about, but it really just comes down to how many do you have, and can you put up something that's simple enough that people can see as they're driving.
Well, I would say something like the Wellesley Maple Syrup Fest.
Okay.
Everybody, or the Apple Fest, they all know that date. So it's in hopes that Blyth continues with the Street Fest. So we would know what our date is. You know, we could say July, may not be the same date year after year, but we might have something very special that we want to promote that needs visualization over the course of the whole summer, that the banners are up, because that only helps promote our special fest.
Yeah, I see your point. It may be hard because you don't have miles and miles, right? You don't have 40 banners like are in New York, where the Museum of Modern Art can put up 50 banners and designate they've got 40 banners on. I think it's really about real estate and the cost, right? Can you put up those banners and take them down for a month period? Really, I think it would probably come down to that. It can definitely be done. But you have to, again, to your point of being careful about how much information you put on it, you have to be careful of that too.
All comes down to budget too, right? Like if you're Nelson, BC, you can afford to put them up every week if you have access to a bucket truck or whoever doesn't, right? But we have to play around with the budget.
Well, I just think my thought was to like 1 or 2 special things, and like when you do go into Wellesley, for example, that's up year round. So even if it happened in July and you're taking it down, you're still reminding people that next year, you didn't make it this year, you know what, we have this special event every year.
That's a good idea.
Like with brushers too, you know,
Yeah,
something like that.
pressures.
It's-
No. Right now, we've only got the pipes to put 1 banner up on each post. But that's a thought for the future as well, if you wanted to put two banners up on a post. You only have 13 going each way. You can look at that and be able to show one banner for the freshers, 1 banner for the different things that are going on, Busker Fest or the theater. The theater shows, I think they were looking for 4. Yeah, 4 in front of the theater building. There's certainly room for fundraising to go and buy more of the posts to be able to more of the brackets to be able to put 2 up instead of just the 1.
And would you put them side by side? Yeah. I think you could
I
probably.
noticed one of the things you had.
Yes, they had 2.
Had a double.
Yeah.
I actually find those 2 very hard to read.
They are busy, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are the banners that you show on your presentation, are they double-sided, like you read them both directions, or is it just?
Generally, we print them double-sided on some kind of polyvinyl, so that they have grommets in them. That's what we've done for the universities. And that sort of thing. So that they last, I mean, they don't last forever, but they have a good 2-3 years, I suggest.
You printing them up for other people?
Pardon me?
You printing them up for other people?
King's University and Gresham University are both, and Western are all clients of ours, so they have their own machine, so we design when they actually get them. Yeah. But we have in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of people that do them. You just have to make sure that the fabric's heavy enough. If you go too light, it can, on a day like today, the wind can not work.
Yeah. We're learning about branding and he's eating popcorn.
As far as the contest that you were talking about, how would induce a way of understanding for every retailer to understand and embrace the story too.
Yes.
And I know that a lot of the people that come to the theater have questioned it, and I think it's part of the staff at the theater to be able to answer those questions as well.
Yeah, everybody should be able to tell that short little story, right? To say this is why do you Jack? You know, what does Blyth? It's such a strange word. What does that mean? Where does it come from?
The Bateman family has been here since it was created. Bateman's come directly from England, and I know the Hudson family has also been here since 1875. So it's like there's certainly there's lots of roots and still active and engaged today. So it's a testament to those families as well. Anybody have any other questions for Robin?
The only thing I saw when I first saw it was the baby blue of the Union Jack, and I was kind of, why is it that
It's like the
color?
color of your
Yeah, that sort of, because I was thinking it would probably be that royal blue, but then when you explained why you did that, it makes sense to me.
And I think that the fact that it's different, it makes you
Yeah.
look at it twice, right? That we're not trying
It's
to-
not exactly the Union Jack, but it's,
Yeah,
kinda-
it's that color.
yeah. So I understand why that was done that way now, but that was something that kind of stuck out to me when I first saw it was, okay, why is that baby blue? Or, you know. But,
Cyan.
yeah.
Yeah, those are not the best example of banners, actually. They're really, really busy.
It's almost like a wedding.
Yeah, yeah. And it actually shows up quite well. Yeah.
And Rob, talk a little bit about the main fabric as opposed to hard surface.
Well, we've always done banners in fabric. The reason being is that they're supposed to catch people's attention, and the very fact that they're moving with the wind is part of their value, I guess, is that they're not a sign which is rigid. They're intended to just attract attention, and that activity of banners and flags and pennants, if you think about it, it's that excitement of an event. It sort of reminds people of that there's something interesting going on. So, I mean, we've always done them in fabric. As I said, they don't last forever, but that's just, considered to be best practice.
Well, thanks, Robin, for coming.